What's up, guys? It's your girl Matt Cox from Maccouture Crafting. I'm your quilty BFF. On this channel, we talk all things pop quilture. What? We are doing another quilt celebration video. I am so excited about this quilt because it's got something a little different about it. It's not your traditionally shaped quilt. Um, and I'm excited. So let's just hop right into it and talk about it. This quilt was done by Janet Stone, and it's called ABC Divine. It's funny because it's ABCDIVINE. Get it? Yeah. Okay. And here it is. Love the color story. I love it, love it, love it. It's definitely giving me a cool kind of spa vibe. And immediately you can see the alphabet that's going through it, or maybe not, but I can see it. But what really draws me to this quilt are the shapes that are coming through. So this is an actual shaped quilt. It's not your typical square or anything. We've got these big, beautiful rounded corners. And then we have our scalloped work right in the center here. Not echoed on the top or the bottom, not echoed all the way through the side, but just here. Just breaking this quilt up in half, and it gives it a little something. And then as we travel in a little bit further, I'm talking about these scallops here, and the ABCs that are going through here. I'm sorry, guys, I had my mouse on the wrong place. But then as we can see, as we travel inward, we have this big, beautiful shape. Now, I'm not sure if that's applique on or if that's inset. Either way, I think it's absolutely beautiful. As we come in just a little bit closer, I mean, the color story is interesting because each letter of the alphabet has its own thing going on. But because there's so much negative space, and because the negative space are these grays, it doesn't feel like each piece is fighting with each other, if that makes sense. Even though each letter absolutely has its own color story, it doesn't feel messy or jumbled in the sense of the color story. It's pretty much, if somebody were to ask me, I'd be like, oh, it's the gray, it's the stone colored quilt. Then coming through these sides, it looks like we have some applique work coming up through the center here. It's divided in thirds with these shapes that are duplicated 3 times through this quilt right here. And look at this beautiful work on the outside. Again, this is applique work. This is in the stationary machine quilted, which means this person used a stationary quilt to quilt this, and they're amazing. They are absolutely amazing. Janet Stone, she knows what she's doing. So let's go ahead and get a little bit closer. Let's look at another picture here. So as we go in, we can see the applique work here. I don't know if that circle is inset or if it's sitting on the outside, but you can see that this is all appliqued on, and then we've got some pebble work through the back of that shape. These vines that are going through have been outlined, and then there's this beautiful clamshell kind of curve thing that's going on this background. And because the background isn't flat, it gives so much dimension to just what would probably lay flat. It probably would look very, very different on a solid background without those tiny dots. Those tiny dots are doing some heavy lifting, which I really enjoy. Again, applique work that has all been outlined here. And then as we go over around this area inside this quilting, which is all just the background right here, we've got some feathers, and then it's filled with these beads on the center, and then a nice swirl. Outlined our applique shapes, and then we have some adornments on this quilt. We have some rhinestones here in these areas, and it looks like some buttons or some cabochons or whatever you call them. They are right here. And then as we travel over to the side of this quilt, we see some more rhinestones in black, applique work here, another adornment that's sitting right there. And then you've got this tiny little piping detail that's going around this black to break it up. And boy, is that special. I mean, it is just ever so tiny. Can you guys see that? That kind of stuff right there just tickles my fancy. That's on that binding, that Good Bias binding. We've got pebbles right here. We've got it echoing. Actually, it's not even echoing. It's making the shape. Love when quilting makes the shapes that are not there. This is all packed down with a super densely quilted kind of a meander back there. Another tracing of this shape. And it looks like these are all needle turned. I think. Yeah, I think they're all needle turned and stitched. And it says the design source are antique quilt blocks. Wow. Moving on to the other side, it's just a repeat, just a beautiful, just a beautiful repeat. Look at the scalloped quilting right here. How cool is that? Again, these rhinestones, they're like flat rhinestones. They're not the Swarovskis that are grabbing your eye with the colors per se. It's just enough to just give it a little something in a few areas, which I quite enjoy and like. Then at the bottom, you see that we've got the crosshatch design, one of my favorite designs. It sits completely behind the applique work. Look at how that comes to that crisp point there and that detail of piping that's going around to separate the two colors. No idea how she did that, but she nailed it. Super dense quilting right here with these big, beautiful feathers coming through. Gorgeous. And this is the bottom center with these pretty, look at that, just a little bit of a gold fleck coming off these center circles right here. Absolutely cool. Very, very, very cool quilt. Something different. Just the shape of it. Everything about this quilt is a little bit different, and I'm enjoying it. It just breaks it up. It's not more of the same. I think that we should encourage one another to try shapes outside of the traditional square and rectangle. This is still a rectangle, but it has huge curved corners, like a nice curved corner. I don't know what she used to curve it. Maybe a huge plate. I don't know. But I like it. It's not just a tiny little curve. It's a big curve. And then I love that this is a shape quilt and not just a regular quilt. All right. So that was that by Janet Stone. She nailed it. You guys know what to do. Let's jump down in the comment section and give Janet some love. Let's love on this quilter. Let's love on this quilt. Let's share it with everybody. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.